Ex-millionaires of Reddit, what made you lose all your money? My dad is an ex-millionaire. He's a f***ing wizard at starting successful businesses. His problem is he can't let them go. He's the boss owner who never hires a manager that's not family because he just doesn't trust anyone else to run it. He drove $3 million companies into the ground because he couldn't keep up with his own success and refused to hire people to do it for him. I watched a guy at a casino somehow get a loan against his house, about $200k, and lose it. He looked suicidal. Apparently he was already in almost $50k and thought he could win it back. I got hired there, and I would leave on Friday and return Monday and see the same people in the same clothes who pissed and shitty themselves and were still sitting at the blackjack table gambling. COVID. Built a business that was given a valuation of a few million back in January. But the industry is now down 80% and I'm doing all I can to avoid bankruptcy. First husband. Was making $1 million a year. He was enjoying life, spending frivolously, but bringing in enough that it didn't matter. We divorced, but amicably. No alimony. No OSA child support. He just paid for whatever the kids needed. Then he got leukemia. He fought like hell for 3 years. The last 2 years were very expensive. It was worth it. Money won't make you happy, but the lack of it can destroy you. The kids and I can take comfort in knowing that truly there was nothing else possible. His millions bought his kids 2 more years of dad, and I'm glad for him that he enjoyed his life while he could. Go to our Wall Street bets and filter by the loss flare. Gambling and spouse terminal illness. I work in finance and my team and I work with all very affluent clients. I've seen so many millionaires lose it all, not from investing in the markets, but from taxes, lifestyle and poor business decisions. Once had a client who was making $50k a month, but was spending $60k a month and perpetually dipping into his investments. There were months where payments bounced because he was living a lifestyle and always wanted more. My favorite investment advice: same car, same house. Not me, but a close friend's parents worked at a well-renowned American company in Houston in the early 2000s. They were really high up in the management chain and enjoyed a lot of the perks that came with their position. After sticking through thick and thin, especially during the dot-com bubble, said friend's parents were also very good in managing their money, living very frugally, and investing for their future nest egg. Unfortunately, therein lied the rub. All that investment, 401ks, extra cash, etc., was on a single pot. I believed. With all their allocation, back in 2000s or so, they have had invested close to $5.6m and was due to pull it out so they could finally retire. Semicolon. But a company scandal brought all that to a collapse. Semicolon. The company? Enron. Semicolon. All their money evaporated. Not me, but an acquaintance. He got caught not paying taxes and dealing in stolen goods. He spent time in federal prison and lost everything, including his wife. Crime does not always pay. Not me. My mom. My grandfather died and left everything to my mom. My father died and left everything to my mom. Mom always thought she was a smart gambler that would win, and as proof she won something like $25,000 in the lottery once and went out and bought a car. That just got her hooked. Good. When dad was alive, he didn't let her gamble, he kept it under control. After dad died, mom found a boyfriend, a former bookie who was a professional gambler. They used to like going to the Indian casinos where they subsequently squandered every single penny and more, as my sister told me that mom, after selling the big house for another $500,000 and buying a small little condo, has now taken out a home improvement loan against the condo for $50,000. No improvements were ever made. Casinos and lottery tickets. A cool million or two gone. We were close. Then the Great Recession hit. Lost 60% in 3 years. Just updated the balance sheet today. We're almost back. Who knows what will happen in the next 24 to 36 months though. Hypothetical millionaire. Bought $100 worth of Bitcoin when they were about $1 each. I sold them when they were about $2.50 each and was so happy I made money from internet coins. As of the moment I am typing this, those coins would be worth $1,855,000. Yo, I can sadly and frustratingly one up this. I have a cool hard 150 BTC, too. $7 million in a wallet I can't access. I have been trying passwords for years and coming up dry, and the worst part is that the wallet is connected to an old work email account that I can't access. The upswing is the company I worked for, and email that I used is nearing insolvency for non-covered issues and in fact should be turning massive profits, but alas, lousy management was the reason I left, as is why they are failing. So soon I will be able to purchase the domain name cheap and set up an email address for password recovery. I am so excited about this and looking forward to 2021 and diversifying my portfolio if it's still there. Edit. I am off to bed. I hope you all have a wonderful day and thank you for your support. A common template for wealth loss is underestimating the role of luck in the initial wealth accumulation. And, as a result, taking irresponsible risks on new ventures and or maintaining lifestyles that overestimate future earning potential. I have seen this with some folks who made money in finance in the 80s and 90s. While extremely smart and hardworking, their path to tens or hundreds of millions of dollars were also pretty lucky. Edit. At 330 upvotes and a bunch of replies. This comment is kind of a metaphor for what I am referring to. When the topic of wealth comes up on Reddit, the subsequent discussion about the role of luck almost always happens. In this case, I just happened to be the guy to make the obvious comment about luck on a thread that happened to get some attention. Appreciating that it took some basic effort to write it out and hit submit. My upvotes and replies have nothing to do with me personally. I got pretty close by selling my company to a bigger competitor. Reinvested most of it since I had not much use for the money, but then got scammed for about $500,000 on buying some real estate. They smelled a newly rich kid from miles away. I still like to think I was worth $1 million at some brief point in time. Edit. Since people are asking. Basically, I bought a fantastic holiday destination facility from someone who did not own said fantastic holiday destination facility. And with bought I mean a substantial down payments to keep other interested parties at bay. Classic. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. You know how to end up with $1 million after a year of day trading? Start with $2 million. I was a multi-millionaire for 2 weeks. Then the vacation was over and we exchanged our dongs for euros. Crypto millionaire. Still worth a lot. With my accounts about $850. 000 today, I have a lot of XRP, but in 2017 I was worth about $3.5 million before the crash. Lowest was $300. 000. I'm a hodler so I don't day trade usually. Somewhere here there's a billionaire laughing because they're an ex-millionaire too. My great-grandparents were farmers and lived in North Dakota. In their prime. Their team and them were absolutely great farmers. This along with some other factors made them super rich. For an example, they owned multiple planes and even had a hangar built to store them. They also had a really nice house, not a mansion, but a really nice and large one. Well, it turns out they were really great at farming but not so much at paying taxes. Making payroll during a pandemic has put a dent in my net worth. Haven't laid off a single employee or cut benefits. Divorce. I was a millionaire. Got divorced, which nearly sent me to insolvency. Buckled down and worked my butt off and am a millionaire. Guys, don't underestimate the pernicious impact on net worth a bad divorce can have. I'd guess divorce. Maybe fraud as well. Trust me. If you ever win the lotto, Every person you have ever met, seems like, will show up with their hand out. If you want to test that, post on your social media that you won a lottery and see what happens. Then, let everyone know you won $5. And then, drop everyone who asked for money. I was a flight attendant and once had a passenger in FC out of Vegas who looked distraught. Handed me a 20 and said, "Please keep the bourbon coming." In flight, he just drank looking down. I asked how he was doing. He said he was trying to figure out how to tell his wife he had lost their home gambling. That was the moment I decided I would never participate in a town that made its money that way. Technically not me but rather my family. My great-grandfather was born to a long line of vicars who had land, properties and farms. They were loaded. He was the rebel-only son and swore that he would break tradition. So he joined the army and come World War II he was shipped off to fight for Britain. While overseas, he was captured and spent a few years in a POW camp where he subsequently found Jesus. After the war, he returned, joined the clergy and, his father having died, gave every single penny to the goddamn church. And property and titles all. And lived off his vicar's salary. Obviously it was never mine to lose. But the knowledge that I could have been a lord with a horse and an affordable coke addiction really stings. A lot of people who win the lottery will blow their money on big purchases, like a house or a yacht. Then they have no money left to pay the yearly costs of those items. And they lose everything. Invest all your money in safe stocks. Get a mortgage on a house. My mom's second husband was a millionaire. Our family and his first family treated everything as one big family. When he got cancer he set a very intricate and fair system. Then he appointed 3 people to oversee any emergency changes to his estate. My mom, his first wife, and her second husband. As soon as he died they voted against my mother to throw away his whole plan and just give them themselves the money. 50-50. My cousin was a big rapper in the 90s. When I say his name you probably know him or heard his music. It is still used today in the USA. Anyway, he became a millionaire really fast at 20 something years old after being a dishwasher. His manager made him sign bad contracts and almost all of the money after a year or two went to his manager and accountant. He is still doing okay producing some music in Los Angeles but not a millionaire anymore. 12 years ago, I was making $95k as a software engineer. I was in an accident, suffered a brain injury, lost everything, and haven't worked as a programmer since then. My injury easily cost me $1 million. Edit. For anyone asking, I was a DBA, SQL server for the most part, with a dash of Oracle. I was also a whiz with JavaScript, CSS, and Cold Fusion all the way back to 1996. After my injury, I couldn't even read my own code, which was literally pristine. My alarm clock that woke me up. I built a business worth $3 million. Had a house worth $4 million. Investments worth more than $2 million. 4 nice cars. Divorce laid me low. An ex-wife. A lawyer. And a judge stripped me of at least 3/4 of that. Left me with a Miata race car. Bit of money and 51% of my company. Still had to pay alimony. I gave up. I negotiated my way out of alimony by giving up more of the company. Liquidated everything else. Bought a boat and FK'd off. 26 months later I sailed back into my life and started over. I've earned enough to live a modest retirement. And that's where I am today. Don't get married, boys. It ain't worth it. I've done it twice. The first time was a disaster. The second time was an annoyance. Just my opinion and experience. I'm way too drunk and shouldn't have posted. Anyway, there it is. COVID and divorce. We were invested in a small brewery that did not make it through COVID. We had 2 rental properties generating income and vacation spots that were shut down due to COVID. Had to sell one off at a huge loss. Ex-wife then wanted a divorce and raked me over the coals. I won the other rental in the divorce and that's about it. FCK the assets. I wish I had my damn dog back. I got into Magic the Gathering. I'd like to add something because it's so ridiculous. My uncle and aunt inherited a lot of money. They paid to get a Speedway fire truck restored that went straight to a storage unit. Wasn't even theirs lol. They took multiple trips to monster truck races, WWE events and the casino. The funniest thing of all was they needed a new car badly but decided against it. They blew through all their money in less than a year and are now making car payments. Eating out too often. Damn avocado toast. An energy drink for Asian homozoles. .com bubble. RWSB where you at what? I was worth $1 million 2 weeks ago for the first time. Hex stocks. They fell and now I'm worth like 900k. Oxy and crack. $1,500 a day habit got me high for a few years. Then the other half was when the dealers infiltrated and took me for tens of thousands at a clip. Oh, and a sibling stealing 400k was a dent as well. It's truly a miracle I'm alive. 9 years removed and finally dug myself out and back on top. I bought the new iPhone. I want to answer. So I'm going to. I spent most of my money on drugs, alcohol, women and fast cars. The rest of it, I wasted. Maybe you need to read about all the lottery winners that lost their money by buying and doing stupid shit. Gave most of it away in the divorce. Took what I thought would be enough to pull a leaving Las Vegas. But Ben Sanderson had a big head start on me on the liver damage. So I outlived the money. Started over from zero 16 years ago. Halfway back. I wasn't quite a millionaire. Was better off. Got investigated for being a kingpin. I'm not. Life ruined. Now I'm homeless and dying. I'll never financially recover from this. I donated my wealth to Orbital Dropper and highly recommend any millionaire reading this do the same. Is that a service that just launches koalas at people from space? This question requires at least one Redditor to be an ex-millionaire. Betting on Ferrari this season. Probably should use the serious tag. Covered. My parents have tons of money in stocks and lost their millionaire status due to the crash that happened. I'm talking tens of thousands in a day at one point. Thankfully, with the drug trials being successful, they're starting to make back their money. Though it's still not where it was before due to the industry they have stock in being hit hard by the shutdowns. Make matters worse, my father is at 1/2 pay since he works hospitality. The stock market went in February and March but has recovered. I have way more money than I had before the crash. I'd have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids. My family lost tons of money with a failed business and bad investments and ended up with tons of debt and a bad financial situation. They weren't millionaires or anything though.